when my father warned about climate crisis, I wasn't ready to listen to that at all. Till I saw, when from the 70s till the 2000, how big the change was. We went with 3 icebreakers to North Pole, 10 knots speed, mid 2004 actually. And that would have been totally unheard of 30 years ago. So 40% of the volume of ice disappeared. That is really what got me woken up and really concerned. That is what drove us to build an eco home, so that we wanted to, the main target is to get rid of all the oil in our lives. Not necessarily all oil, we can't avoid, like asphalt contains oil, but certainly burning oil. We couldn't really set the accurate targets. We said low CO2 footprint, net zero home. That was something that was known, so that was the initial starting point. And then long lifetime of home. It looked to me like the homes have a pretty short life on this earth, and pretty much mold also, and unsafe because they use lots of toxic materials. I see lots of pioneers build eco homes with lots of labor, but you cannot put it to industrial production. So our target was to build a home that can be easily built in large numbers. Harmless home plans. First of all, I really feel like a privileged person because we had a home designer, Jack Anderson, who has designed eco homes for many, many years, decades. One of the things that I was really concerned was the external walls, because all the leaky condo syndrome and mold issues. So we studied several exterior wall alternatives. And then Jack said, hey, now there's a new product called just biofiber. And I took that and compared it to all the others and said, this biofiber wins every other alternative a big time, actually. So it hadn't been used anywhere on this earth. It was developed by an inventor in Calgary who, in his garage, had experimented how to build these biofiber blocks. We chose the biofiber. I've been asked many times that was I crazy because it's never been used anywhere. So must be big risk to do something so new. The other thing that we of course require is that in order to get net zero home, we needed to create our own power. So solar panel system was a key element of the whole solution. And then we also wanted to build something self-sufficient on water, septic, etc. Francis has followed this project from beginning practically. Here's the inventor and myself and Francis. Here's the location in East Sooke where the home is built. Here's this biofiber block can be cut by regular bandsaw, so that is very easy to deal with. It's plastered together. The green is the structural frame. That's where the strength, global strength is, and the block itself is the insulation and the kind of solidity of the wall. And it's plastered. The beauty of that is that it's so simple to construct because you can finish inside and outside without any plastic, only plaster inside and outside. Outside we put lime stucco. So stucco outside and plaster inside, finish. Very simple. And it's fireproof. It actually doesn't burn. Here's the inventor kicking the wall. It actually is very, very strong. One thing that, of course, was very difficult to predict, so how long is it going to take to apply something totally new? Construction, we decided, we had the contract with a builder to build a home March 12, 2017. Building permit May 9th. JBF block delivery July 29th, first lot of blocks, and installation immediately after. Then it took a really long time to actually get the home completed. It required lots of patience from both the biofiber people, the contractors, as well as us as clients. So what narrative built the home? What is proven by it? One thing that surprised me, because I only did calculations last few weeks, the CO2 footprint of this home, and we have 2 electric cars as well, is well within what the one Earth of ours can carry. On those sectors that were transportation and house were about nearly half, or close to half. So that is so small that we actually now achieve that it just blew me away. The other thing that I didn't even realize, but the expectation of lifetime for this exterior wall biofiber would be maybe 500 years, or could be even more. It's very difficult to say. We are not going to stick around long enough to check. But anyways, that is one of the reasons why it's very difficult to calculate embodied carbon in the house, how you distribute that over time. But if the age of the house, the lifetime is very, very long, of course then the annual consumption of materials is very low. It's mold-free, this is actually the material itself. There's no mold as part of this. And it's actually even bug-free. It's very low VOC, volatile organic compounds, and also low EMR. We had it all measured the EMR actually in the house. We can grow fresh vegetables, fruit, etc. in a greenhouse room inside the house, which was Jack Anderson special in the design. So we have a biofiber wall also inside the house, so there's a whole separate climate for the greenhouse. Then the other thing that surprised me, I was thinking that it might cost a lot of money. I think it costed quite a bit of money for the biofiber company for pioneering costs, but what we paid for the house actually, it's no more than an upscale house, actually, the construction cost. And I see that next house after ours took only 1/3 of the time to build, so I'm sure the price of the installation of this kind of biofiber will be very much more affordable than was in our house. And the other thing that is, everybody who comes to the house, they said, this is a very nice and quiet house. We have lots of wind, but we never hear much any of it. It's a very high sound insulation. And the one other thing was that we thought that we might need to compromise something about our lives, but no, actually, nothing's been compromised about the quality of life. Actually, it's quite the opposite. We enjoy this much better than our previous house. Let's look at the electric solar panel system. It's connected to BC Hydro with a net metering. We got 15.6 kilowatt solar panels on the roof. It cost about 50,000. Produces, it's not been nearly a year yet, but it produces well over 20 megawatt hours per year electricity. The house uses somewhat less than 10, and 2 cars, 15,000 kilometers each use about 5.5 megawatt hours. Then when I calculate what it means, actually the car charging itself saves so much money in comparison to fuel for petrol car, that in 15 years those savings pay for the whole solar system on our roof. In 15 years that's paid by itself. And that doesn't even take into account that BC Hydro will pay us back maybe $500 or $1,000 per year. So essentially we end up now living with 0 bills or anything about the house itself. Maintenance, yes, but I understand that our solutions are very low maintenance too. Then we have a quite complicated water system. We have 3 water tanks, 10,000 gallons total. 2 water tanks are rainwater, 1 is well water. So we can choose, rainwater actually goes even without any treatment to the greenhouse room. That's the best consumption. So, and this must be one of the most complicated water systems of any single house. People are commenting that. We have lots of kind of experimenting to do and see how it all works. Level 2 septic system, which is 3 tanks, and it sends practically clean water to the nature. We do composting, recycling, garbage collection is community. That we haven't really addressed beyond that so far. So what is the carbon footprint really of that home? The JBF walls is actually carbon negative in construction, and the company has a certificate for government as a carbon negative construction company. And not only that, but during the lifetime, the curing of the lime in the blocks actually absorbs 25 to 50 tons during the first 50 to 100 years of the life of the house. So literally that becomes carbon negative, the whole house. The only thing that actually we saw is that if BC Hydro is out, we don't back up the heating system. We have power walls in the electric system so that the main circuits are actually active even though BC Hydro doesn't provide electricity. But we have a wood stove as a backup heating system wintertime if BC Hydro is out. So we said, okay, if we burn about half ton wood, it would be 0.04 tons per year, the CO2. The driving the electric cars, of course, is CO2 free when it's from the solar panels, the power. We call this harmless cars to electric cars. So just for curiosity, because I couldn't stop doing this, I said, we are zero CO2 with our 2 electric cars, 30,000 kilometers total. Long distance driving, going outside of the home and charging someplace else, BC Hydro is 11 grams per kilowatt hour of CO2, or 1.6 grams per kilometer. Whereas a similar petrol car, as the Tesla would be, BMW comparable, was 223 grams per kilometer. So you can see that it's only a very, very small percentage that the electric cars. Of course, this doesn't take into account the embodied carbon in the building of the car, but it assumes that the petrol car and electric car might be reasonably comparable on that scale. What are we happy about? Living at the home is absolutely wonderful experience. Like I said, we like it better than our previous home, which was a very nice one too. And then transportation on the American continent with the electric cars is actually practically a no-brainer. It's by far the lowest CO2 way to travel. If I compare it to petrol car or flying. Petrol car driving and flying are quite comparable if it's single person. But the car becomes more efficient actually if you've got more persons in the car. Yeah, and we do like freedom from toxins. We try to use the minimum formaldehyde emitting materials in the house, and that's practically zero. So what remains to be done with our house so that we can take the next step? First of all, we need to year-round now monitor how the house performs. That's one of the things. And then we need to start to grow the food in that greenhouse. And the other thing that really needs to be done is to spread the word about the experience. I've been the pioneer all my life, and to me it's a responsibility for the pioneers to freely distribute the information, so that that's the only way that it really helps the future. It doesn't really matter what we do if we don't give the information about it to others, that they can actually do the same, or better actually, hopefully. And beyond the Harmless Home itself, we really want to reduce the food eco-footprint of ours. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, thank you.